November 1st, 1396. St. Paul's Cathedral is drenched in candlelight. The stone walls flicker with shadows as choirs echo beneath soaring Gothic arches. But today's wedding is no celebration. At the end of the aisle, a 6-year-old girl takes trembling steps. Her crown is too heavy. Her silk dress drags behind her like a net. She clutches a tiny bouquet with hands that should be holding toys. She is Isabel of France, and in minutes, she'll be declared Queen of England, married to a man nearly 5 times her age. The groom, Richard II, King of England, 29. What brought this innocent child to the altar of a foreign kingdom? This isn't a love story. It's a treaty, signed in blood and sealed with a child's future. Isabel of France was born into chaos. The year was 1389. France was bleeding from the 100 Years' War, and its throne was wrapped in madness. Her father, Charles VI, known as Charles the Mad, was king in name only. By 24, his mind had shattered. He would flee the palace screaming, believe he was made of glass, failed to recognize his wife and children. The kingdom wasn't ruled by a monarch, it was ruled by whispers, regents, and cold ambition. And in the shadows of this broken court stood Isabeau of Bavaria, Isabel's mother, ambitious, ruthless, beautiful, hated. Some called her a queen, others a traitor. What she wasn't was maternal. To her, daughters were bargaining chips, and Isabel, a golden piece in a collapsing empire's last game. The little girl grew up in royal palaces that felt more like prisons. She saw more politics than bedtime stories, more power plays than affection. And when the English envoys arrived, asking for peace, asking for a bride, Isabeau didn't hesitate. Richard II needed a political win. France needed a truce. Isabeau needed leverage. And Isabel, she didn't need to understand. She just needed to walk down that aisle. The negotiations were cold, brutal. Ambassadors argued over her as if she were livestock. Some English lords were disturbed by her age, but Richard II was desperate. He wanted peace now. So the deal was struck. 800,000 pounds in dowry, a 28-year truce, and one little girl, dressed in silk, placed on a ship bound for England. She left behind her favorite toys, her dog, and any chance of a normal life. Her mother didn't cry, didn't whisper comfort, just handed her over like property. Her father, in a rare moment of lucidity, kissed her forehead. To Isabel, it felt like a long trip to another castle. But it was a one-way trade, and she was the item exchanged. The journey to England took weeks. Crowds gathered, lords gave gifts, but she just wanted to go home. By the time they reached London, the stage was set. St. Paul's Cathedral glowed. Richard II waited for a girl who could barely carry her crown. Isabel didn't understand the ceremony. When the Archbishop tried to place the ring on her hand, he had to kneel. She said nothing, just confusion and growing fear. She wasn't a queen. She was a child lost in a game played by adults. Richard II wasn't a monster. He had loved his first wife deeply. Marrying Isabel was duty, not desire. In private, he treated her like a daughter. He gave her French tutors, let her keep her customs, gave her space to grow up safely. He never touched her. For a moment, it looked like things might not be so bad. But peace, bought through children, never lasts. September 1399. England turned against him. Nobles rebelled. Henry Bolingbroke led them. Richard fled. Isabel was locked inside a palace too quiet for comfort. No explanations, just silence and fear. Richard surrendered. He was imprisoned, and then murdered, disposed of like a failed king. Isabel was 10, a widow, no protection, no comfort. The crown on her head meant nothing. The dowry was gone. Returning her would mean refunding gold England no longer had. So they locked her away. Havering Castle. Luxury, food, gowns, and guards. She began writing letters. I am kept here like a prisoner, far from all I love, without hope of return. Eventually, France demanded her release. In 1401, she returned home. But home didn't recognize her. Her mother greeted her like a problem, not a daughter. France was still broken, and she was a leftover piece from a deal gone wrong. In 1405, at 16, she married Charles of Orleans, a poet, a kind soul. They wrote poems, spoke about art. For the first time, Isabel smiled. But in 1407, he went to war, captured, imprisoned for 25 years. She was once again alone. In 1409, she gave birth to their only child, Joan of Orleans. At 20, Isabel died, likely from childbirth complications. No procession, no bells, no final speech. She was buried quietly, as if her life had never mattered. But it did. She was born a princess, never got to be a child, used by politics, widowed twice, and died having tasted joy only briefly. Her daughter would grow up without a father. Like Isabel had grown up without comfort. She was meant to be forgotten. But we remember.